Don't stand on account of me. I am truly blessed that my friend Dean Dickinson convinced me 8 years ago to visit beautiful La Crosse, Wisconsin, and to see what the coulees are all about. He told me about these coulees, and I didn't understand it till I got here. You have one of the most beautiful spots in the United States. It's so amazing. And to be able to be out here 8 years later and see the phenomenal changes to your La Crosse Center and all of the improvements in your community, I feel truly blessed. So thank you, Dean Dickinson. I appreciate the invitation. And we are ready to start a celebration like none other in the Gateway Area Council. 100 years of scouting. It's amazing, isn't it? The host for this evening is a true celebrity in La Crosse, and more specifically at Camp Decorah, where he grew up. He's a native of Holman, and you may have heard his name before, Gene Topper Hagerman. Topper's a great guy. I got to meet him yesterday, spend time with him, have dinner with him, hear his stories. It's amazing. He's an Eagle Scout, class of 1960, managing partner in Axios Sports Medicine in Eagle, Colorado. I don't know if he named the town of Eagle because he is an Eagle, but he's a 1964 graduate of UW La Crosse, holds a doctorate degree in sports physiology from Ohio State University, and has also served on, we have some Ohio, I'm an Ohioan, so. He also served on the U.S. men's alpine ski team for the '84 Olympics in Sarajevo. He's remembered by many who spent their summers at Camp Decorah. Topper, come to the stage and get all of our greetings.
Come on, baby, bring it on. Good evening. Truly, it's an honor and privilege to be here this evening. And I'm going to get a little emotional. I just feel so blessed that I'm here, back in La Crosse. It's been a number of years. But with that, I just want to thank all of you for being here this evening. I truly believe that from my heart. 100-year celebration, to talk about Camp Decorah. And it's not only because of Sam and Betty, it's because of all of you sitting out there. As I used to work with a company, and we always talked about team, talked about relationships, the importance of that. And it doesn't change with scouting. Not at all. And so I want to also thank the steering committee, took time to put this together, the board of directors. Thank Joe and his staff. It takes a team to do something like this. And so when Dean Dickinson, I think, called me, sent a letter, I forget now. That's back in January. He said, would you please come to this Centennial? And when I got off the phone, I said to my wife, Bob, unfortunately could not be here to see. I said, yeah, I'm going. I wish he was here. But I tell you who I wish was here is Mom and Dad, Sam and Betty Hagerman. I could stand up here for a long time. I'm not going to, sorry. But I can tell you one thing. I grew up on a Boy Scout camp, for heaven's sakes. I still have a number of people saying, you mean you kind of was there in the summer? I said, no, I lived there. idyllic, unbelievable. I cut my teeth there, mowing lawns, back when I was 10 years old, and just blessed and fortunate that I had a mom and dad that love people. But I'll tell you a quick story. Tell me if I'm getting too long. Quick story. We arrived, Camp Decor, 1953. I was telling someone this yesterday. And we arrived in one car, my mom and dad, Eddie and Sam, my grandfather, I don't know if you remember Grandpa Fox, Fred R. Fox, he lived with us. His dog, Hansi Gustavus Adolphus, in the car with us. My mom's bird, Pretty Boy, was with us as well. We drive up, I can remember, I closed my eyes, I had a road trip, I drove out here from Eagle, Colorado, and I can close my eyes, we stopped, got out of the car, I saw this huge elm tree over about 10 yards away, there was a farmhouse, and then I was informed by Mom and Dad, that's where you go to the bathroom, we had an outdoor biffy. Well, that changed that summer. They put in a shower about the size of this lectern. But I'm just going to say something. My dad was a welder by trade. Told he could not weld any longer. Making this long story short. He in turn, my mom's a nurse's aide in Three Rivers, Michigan, very southern part of the state. Was in the Boy Scouts, a leader, went to the chief executive there and said, you know, I've got to find a job. He said, Sam, I got a job for you. There's a place near Holman, Wisconsin. It's called Camp Decor. They need a ranger. I said, okay. They went up, looked at it with a couple of friends, came back, said, we're moving. So we arrived there. All I can say, God placed them in the right place because it's a season of life for them, definitely. Dad is about 40 then. And it changed their lives. So about 2 to 3 years later, as he became accustomed to the camp, Mom became accustomed to the camp, he being the camp ranger, then camp director, she cooked in the summertime, then all of a sudden they just grew and grew and grew to love kids, to love scout leaders, scout masters, order the area, you name it. God placed them in an idyllic situation. And they were meant to be there. I saw that growth. I did not understand it, I'll be honest with you. You know, I was a high school kid growing up and trying to learn my way as well and so on until I've gotten a bit older. And coming to this wonderful event that we are here tonight, it just hit home. This place is beautiful. Camp Decor, I'll tell you right now, is one of the most beautiful places in the world. I don't care what anyone says. We want to keep it that way. We want to sustain it. And I'm asking you tonight to think about it, please. We don't want to see it go away. We want kids, more kids, to come under that Camp Decor sign. I don't care what age. Enjoy the values of scouting. How it can set the journey in their life. It's huge, people. It's huge. So I'm going to quit talking because I'm going to come on again and I won't say too much more.
This evening, I would like to share with you a column which appeared in the La Crosse Tribune and other Lee Enterprise newspapers on Easter Sunday, April 9th. It was written by another son of Camp Decora, Charlie Quick, and the column is going to be read tonight by Carl Mathewson. Carl?
Thank you. These are the words of Charlie Quick. Born a Jack Pine savage, I was in court after a bit of mischief. According to the judge, I was also a member of a family that was too large, and he sentenced me to be a ward of the state of Wisconsin until 21 years old. That same day, I was dropped off at the Wisconsin Child Center in Sparta. Coming from a tar paper shack on a knoll surrounded by miles of marsh, I found the Child Center gigantic and an imposing threat. It was 1951, my 11th birthday, and I was in need of guidance. While at the Child Center, Counselor Dwayne Kunis organized a Boy Scout troop. Under Mr. Kunis's guidance, I attended both winter and summer sessions at Camp Decorah. The camping experience was always the highlight of my 6.5 years at the Child Center. During the summer of 1957, I was lucky. I was given a job as an assistant waterfront director by camp director Sam Hagerman. The waterfront director was soon to be Dr. Frederick Fritz Hagerman. After the summer work on the waterfront, I won the lottery by becoming the foster son of Sam and Betty Hagerman. My involvement at Camp Decorah and living with the Hagermans taught me much about life and family. That Boy Scout oath took on a greater meaning because Sam Hagerman lived the Boy Scout oath. To young people such as myself, Camp Decorah is a lifeline to experience firsthand the people who exemplify the Scout oath. It gives young people an example to emulate. These are the words of Charlie Quick, who looks a lot like the fella at table 2, right there.
I'd now like to invite Topper back to the stage. I understand you have a little anecdote that you're going to share with us, sir.
Thank you.
I'll pull the microphone for you because you like to walk and talk.
You're very kind.
I'm back, whether you like it or not. So, again, I just want to thank Charlie for writing that commentary, his wife here tonight as well, Brother Charlie and Carol here, and then the Drugans, Mike, Mary, and Kent from Castle Mounds here and joining me at the table, and Morgan now here as well. You know, I was going to say that. Just a couple comments on the fact that, you know, it's so well written, I really don't have a great deal to tell you about it because Charlie wrote that from his heart. You know, we were just talking about it. Charlie was 17 when he first came to live with us. I was 11 years old. My hair was a little darker than it is now. Hey, Charlie. But what a pleasure having Charlie as a brother. He taught me, he's a mentor as well, taught me things as a brother should, because I have 2 older brothers. One's 11, has passed away, and one's 8 years old. So Charlie fit into the family from the standpoint of being at home in high school. Sports training there as well, and then he went on and went to UW Lacrosse. Just had an unbelievable career. Went to Eau Claire North, am I right, Charlie? Teaching and mentoring kids, and he still does it. He has kids still calling him to this day. So I think part of that, and I'm just going to interject if I'm wrong, Charlie, come up here and tell me I'm wrong, but that's part of the values of scouting. Charlie learned, I've learned, and many others have. But it's talking about family as well. So you start with the individual, you move to the family, and move to relationships that just expand. And that's what I always considered in watching my father and mother, how they just loved that and loved on people. And you know, the Scout oath, the Scout law, says so much. And again, it's about God and country. We're blessed to live in quite a world, our world here. But at the same time, I pray for those in scouting throughout, internationally as well. Because they too are receiving the same type of values, and hopefully will carry those forward. A couple of things about Mom and Dad. I'm going to tell you a little story. I've got a couple of humorous stories. I'm coming back again, whether you like it or not. But right now, I want to give you a story. And Dad always talked about having fun. If it isn't scouting, it isn't fun. If it isn't scouting, it isn't fun. Right. This is something, I might get some tears. Dad was ill. It's 2001. I was with him. And he was, I forget what hospital now in La Crosse. I've been here a couple of weeks. My brother would come in. We were going to do the same thing we did the year before. Go out with Dad and go to a basketball game, stop at Trugan's, have dinner, and whatever. Just have fun with him. And unfortunately, he got a bit sick, got in the hospital on short notice, ended up having a stroke. And so I was asked to go to the hospital, obviously, and I was there each day. But to move him to a skilled nursing facility, a social worker needed to come and talk to Dad. And so when she got there, first thing she said to me, she said, please don't help your dad at all with these questions. So the first question is the name. What's your name? And he had, because of the stroke, had a little, my name is Sam Hayden. Okay. Sam, what do you do for a living? I remember this time, I can taste it, smell it, feel it today. Somebody, and he waited, he paused. And I spoke up, I said, Dad, what did you do for work? This is Dad. I can't remember what I did, but I sure had fun. That was the last sentence of his life. That was the last sentence of Sam Hayden's life.
Thank you, Topper. We have quite an auspicious evening planned for you tonight, in that this is one of only about 2,000 presentations of these awards that have ever been made by the Boy Scouts of America. And we're a 112-year-old organization. We will be presenting the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award this evening. And to assist, I would like to call forward Michael Davey. Michael is an Eagle Scout from the class of 1960. He earned the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award in 1988. He's one of only 3 others to earn it here in the Gateway Area Council. Michael's father, Philip, also received the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award. The 3rd recipient is Jay Johnson, retired United States Admiral. Tonight, the Gateway Area Council will welcome a 4th.
Good evening. The trail a youth follows to attain Eagle Scout rank doesn't end with the presentation of the Silver Eagle Medal. Sometimes, long after that achievement, we pause on a trail for a very special tribute. We are privileged today to present a rare honor, the Gold Eagle Medal, representing the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award. This prestigious honor is given to an Eagle Scout who has uncommonly demonstrated commitment to making our community a better place to live, and who achieves career and life success. It is rarely presented. In fact, out of some 2.7 million Eagle Scouts, less than 2,000 have been recognized in this way. The recipient will join the ranks of some well-known Eagle Scouts. Only 3 other Eagles have been so honored by our council. Now, therefore, in recognition of his achievements and the desire of the Boy Scouts of America, upon nomination of the Gateway Area Council, acting on behalf of the Executive Board of the Boy Scouts of America, The honor and rank of a Distinguished Eagle Scout is awarded to and conferred on Mark Lee.
Okay, normally when I go out, I give a speech about the space program, all right? But not tonight. When I was looking through some of the literature that they handed out yesterday, and it's also at your table, I was looking at this page, why choose scouting? And I think back to when, astronaut selection took place, some of the same things. I mean, you could read some of these paragraphs, and it's exactly what they're looking for scouts. But the one thing that I'd like to talk about tonight is the world is full of complex challenges that require the ability to solve problems. You don't just get an Eagle Scout, go out in the world and then just get picked up to be an astronaut. There's a lot that goes into it. And this time period, May 5th, yesterday, in 1961, 61 years ago, was the day I decided to be an astronaut. Everything I did in my life was geared towards, being selected. I ran into a lot of challenges, which I'll talk about in just a little bit. And May 4th through the 8th, 33 years ago, I was in orbit on my first mission. The last night that I was up in space, I was in the middeck for landing, so I asked the commander, hey, is it okay if I stay up for a little bit? Because, I just want to, look at the Earth for a little bit. So I stayed up, actually most of the night, 4.5 hours. In 4.5 hours, you have 3 sunrises, 3 sunsets, and you go around the world 3 times. So I'm sitting there looking at the Earth, and I couldn't help but think back to all the people and all the challenges that went with getting to where I was. I knew that I needed to be in the military, get an engineering degree, a master's degree, and be a pilot in order to be an astronaut or even be competitive. So I was thinking through that. I got accepted to the Air Force Academy, and about a month before I went to the academy, we had an accident. 2 of my friends and I, we came up to La Crosse, went to a movie, driving home in a rainstorm. All of a sudden, there's a cow in the middle of the road, all right? And he tried to brake. It was back when we had bench seats in the front seat with 3 people up there. I happened to be on the cow side when we hit the cow. Then we went down into the ravine. The next time I remember, I'm in the emergency room getting 75 stitches in the side of my head. I woke up for just a little bit, just in time to see my mom faint when she saw me in the emergency room, and my dad was at a Boy Scout event on Goose Island, middle of a rainy night. He was actually glad I had an accident because he had to get out of that wet, out of the wet tent and come there. So I get to the academy, and they said, "Were you unconscious?" Because if I would have been unconscious, they would have turned me around and said, "Go home. We don't like, having pilots who have been unconscious." And so I told them, well, I did wake up one time and watch my mom faint. Does that count, as being okay? And they said, they gave me an EEG, and they said, go about your business. And at the academy, you have to take a lot of different courses, but in order to decide on a major, they make you go and meet with all the department heads from all the different disciplines. So the one that had the biggest impact on me was civil engineering. The head of the department was Colonel Wallace E. Fleur, and when we came out of the meeting room, he came up to me. He said, "Mark, are you going to be a civil engineer?" And he goes, "No, I'm going to be an astronaut. All right, I need to get a degree in astronautics or aero or something like that." And he put his arm around me, and we're standing there looking, and he's pointing up towards the ceiling. I remember, and he says, "Mark, we're in the Apollo program right now, all right? In 10 years, when it's time for you to be an astronaut, they're going to need civil engineers to build bases on the moon." Biggest line of BS I ever fell for, because we weren't going to build bases on the moon. He knew it, but he told everybody anyway. That year, they had 80 people sign up for civil engineering. Normally, they had 40. Here's the funny part. 2 of us got selected to be astronauts from that academy class. My academy class in 1974 had 5 astronauts, all right? That's almost unheard of. If you go in the state of Wisconsin, there's only a couple that have come out of the UW system, and we had 5 of them. So I went on, got my degree in civil engineering. The big thing that you wanted to get, though, was if you were in the top X% of the class, they gave you a blue chip letter. The blue chip guaranteed that you could go back to graduate school sometime within the first 5 years of graduation. So I get done with my first assignment. I'm in Okinawa, Japan, and I call them up and say, "I'd like to, cash in my blue chip letter." And they go, "It's no good." I go, "What do you mean it's no good?" I said, "Well, the needs of the Air Force has changed, and we're not sending you." So, this is one of those things that was a must-have. I needed to have, a master's degree. So I asked the person at Personnel Center, I said, "Is there any other way to get this done?" All right, and he said, "Well, there's an Air Force regulation that allows you to apply to graduate schools, and if you get selected and if you have a scholarship, then we'll let you go." And I said, "Well, how many people have done this?" "We don't know of anyone." All right? But this was a dead end for me. This is like hitting a brick wall, in your goal to be an astronaut. So I got this regulation, I read it, filled out the applications. One of the places I applied to was MIT. I got selected. They let me go, all right? So it's one of those things where, if you hit a wall, you either go right, left, over, or under, and I decided to go around in this particular case, and it worked out just fine. So after that, they said, "You have to go, we want to assign you from Boston," well, just before I went to MIT, I got to tell this part. So from Okinawa, I bought a brand new Corvette in St. Louis. I flew into St. Louis 5 days before I was going to start at MIT. Got out of the parking lot, took off. 47 miles later, it was totaled. There was a semi that was, I was in the right-hand lane, he was the left-hand lane. He lost track of me, came over, caught the rear end of my car, turned me sideways in front of him, and was pushing me down the highway at 65 miles per hour. All right? And what was really bad is I'm sitting there looking at Peterbilt out my side window, and he's accelerating. It was so gentle, he didn't even know that he'd hit me. He finally stood up and looked over and saw the car, and then, He slowed down after that a little bit. So from there, I go, okay, now I have 4 days to get out there. I have no car. So I go out to Logan Airport in Boston, and I get a taxi. I go to a place, a motel, and across the street is a Ford dealer. So I wish I would have been at Doll Ford. I could have got, probably got a better deal. But the only thing I could afford, looking through the lot, was a Pinto station wagon. All right. Fighter pilots don't drive Pinto station wagons. So this guy comes out and he goes, "You looking to buy a car?" You heard the Boston accent. I go, "Does that last word have an R on the end of it?" All right, so he said, I said, "I need a car for my mother." I wasn't going to tell him I was going to be driving his Pinto station wagon. But anyway, so I got a Pinto station wagon and went to graduate school. After that, I got an assignment. And in the middle of that next assignment, my next step after the graduate degree, being a pilot, was to go to test pilot school. All right? But I was in an engineering job, and I, just couldn't do it. So right in the middle of that assignment, the personnel center, who I really didn't like from going back to going to graduate school, said, "The needs of the Air Force have changed. We want you to come back to flying." So this really worked out well for me, and continued on. And from that, I got to fly F-16s, went to Hill Air Force Base, and was picked up by the astronaut program in 1984. That was one of those things where you just have to be, you have to have certain qualifications, but you also, have to be really lucky. Out of 5,000 applicants, they picked 17 astronauts. So it's just one of those things that I got through a bunch of obstacles, and I think that's one of the most important things, life lessons about be prepared. You never know what life is going to throw your way, but if you have a goal and you want to get somewhere, there's always a road to get there. So I'd also like to finish by introducing my father. He's going to be 94 in about 3 weeks. He's a father of 3 Eagle Scouts. Do we have anybody out there that has 3 or more Eagle Scouts? We got one right there, a couple over there. And my 2 sons are Eagle Scouts. And my youngest, 5 years ago, when we knew we were moving to Colorado, I said, "Hey, why don't you try, in the next year, you've got like 15 merit badges. Why don't you see if you can't get Eagle Scout before we move?" All right? And he did it before his 14th birthday, which is pretty amazing. So there's always a way to get something done. And that's what I'd like to, tell, all the people out there that I see. We got a few scouts. If you set a goal, there's always a way to get there. Now, I can tell I don't look a day older, right? But we've got one more picture I'd like to put up. We got that one? There. That's me flying a jetpack in space. That's awesome. It doesn't get any better than that. But even more so than that, I was a person that they assigned about 1.5 years before that flight to be in charge of the team that developed the jetpack. The jetpack is called SAFE, or Simplified Aid for EVA Rescue. And so we used a lot of off-the-shelf materials, and we came up with a training method. This is in 1993, to use virtual reality for the first time for it. But one last thing. We have any Navy people in the crowd? A couple of them. You'll notice up here that I'm looking at the space shuttle. I'm not looking at the Earth, which is a beautiful view, because the commander was Navy, and I didn't want him to fly away when I was up there. So we have little rivalries with people. And so I'd just like to finish by really thanking you for this award. Scouting has been great for me, great for my family, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the newest Distinguished Eagle Scout, Mark Lee. Mark, thank you for your service. From Mark Lee to Mark Kriebel to Mark Metry. Part of this evening's program, you're going to be hearing from Eagle Scouts on how scouting has impacted their lives. Mark Metry is an Eagle Scout from Troop 9 of the Four Lakes Council. He earned the Eagle in 1972. He's held a variety of volunteer roles in the Gateway Area Council. He currently serves as Vice President of Endowment. Professionally, he works as a pharmacist where he's able to continue Scouting's charge to help other people at all times. Mark.
It's an honor to have the opportunity to address this group this evening and relate my personal experiences and background to illustrate the relevance of scouting that still exists and still resonates in 2022. Scouting has been impactful and life-altering through the lessons I have learned and continue to learn every day. When I was youthful, I could never have imagined how the scouting experience would carry over into adulthood to form so many aspects of my life. Trying to maintain a work-life balance through an outdoor lifestyle while providing volunteer service is a challenge faced by many of us here this evening, and certainly one that I struggle with. With Mother's Day upcoming, you ladies may identify with my statements about my background with respect to my own mother, who is the one who pushed me into Scouts. As the only son of a widow, she realized the value of me having strong male role models who, quote, knew how to do things besides sit in a tavern. Boy, was she ever right about that. If only she could view the impact of her simple statement and how it affected my life today. Sometimes the relevance of scouting skills comes into question in our computerized, electronic-driven, fast-paced society. Let me reassure you that it is. The Scout oath and law have never been more relevant or needed by our world. Scouting provided me as a youth and continues to provide me as an adult things of value that continue to motivate me and draw me back to the programs and the people who are involved with our youth. Some articles refer to the scouting skills as soft skills. I did not like this description until realizing that the real definition of soft skills implies the development of behaviors and thought processes that provide the tools for success. Scouting provided me with experiences and adventures that I would never have imagined and allowed them to share them with my Eagle Scout, Alex, who continues to have engagement with our board of directors. My wife, Marcia, who is a very active volunteer, and our daughter, Hannah, who is married now and lives in Eau Claire. It teaches me skills by gaining confidence through building competencies. 100 miles backpacking at Philmont with Alex and a group from Unalaska certainly tested that theory. At work, I'm supposed to be 100% perfect with everything that I do and every patient that I help and interact with. Scouting provides the development of leadership skills in a no-risk practice environment. I serve several hundred people every day. I am on duty, so I get to share their joys and sorrows while paying the advantages and opportunities that I have been able and have been given forward to other people.
My scouting skills have allowed me to feel capable as well as dependable as I am doing this. The added extra bonus is that through scouting I get to meet cool people and build long-term friendships with people and other families that I would never have been able to get to know and be able to get a glimpse into their world. Gateway and La Crosse have provided an opportunity to extend my scout family as the leaders that guided me as a youth begin to pass and are now expanded to include the giants, the men and women that we have walking among us tonight that will lead our youth to share with them how to build and hone their moral compass as they show them that they too have value and are capable of doing hard things. Be prepared and prepared for life are much more than just catchphrases. Scouting teaches how to make plans and how to get stuff done. It is alive and well in the Gateway Council. Thank you for allowing me to address you this evening and join you on the journey as we set our youth up for a bright future and recognize the joy in paying it forward and serving other people. Thank you.
Well, I was asked tonight to give a national perspective on the past, present, and future of scouting. You know, the past and the present are easy. The future isn't so easy. I don't have a crystal ball. So let me start with the past. I think we all know scouting started in 1910 in Chicago by a publisher, W.D. Boyce. He used the help of the YMCA, you may not be aware of that, to really establish the scouting program. In fact, the first camping experience of Boy Scouts in the United States was on Lake George, New York, not far from where I live, at a YMCA camp. But Dean Dickinson will be pleased to hear that in our research we found that Rotary International then took up the mantle of expanding scouting throughout the United States. I found out last night, and didn't even know that the La Crosse Rotary Club that was chartered in 1919 at one time held title to either part or all of Camp Decorah. So this was the earliest manifestations of the scouting program in this part of the driftless area of Wisconsin, and it was Rotarians that carried the scouting banner forward to expand the program throughout the United States. The founder of Rotary was Paul Harris, and I have seen minutes from the Los Angeles Rotary Club in 1916. We call it LA 5 because it's the 5th Rotary Club ever chartered. LA 5 had a meeting with Paul Harris and a fellow by the name of James E. West, who was the chief scout executive. He was the guy that was hired for 6 months, and he stayed for 47 years in that position. But they sold the Los Angeles Rotary Club on the idea of scouting, and scouting was born in Southern California. Fully 80% of Boy Scout councils have been formed by Rotarians. We have 2 Camp Rotaries within an hour of my house in upstate New York, and it's proved a problem when it comes time to camp inspection if the inspectors don't say which Camp Rotary that the team needs to show up at. But I will say that Paul Harris, in recognition of what he did, was the 70th recipient of the Silver Buffalo Award, awarded to him in 1934. And that was on the certainly on the strength of all that he did for scouting. So we look at scouting in the present. Scouting is a stronger organization than it has been in many years, even given the challenges that we've had over the last 20 or 30 years. We're a more welcoming organization, and we have accepted girls into the last 2 of our programs that were all male, and I think we need to applaud that. We're helping now girls as well as boys in all of our programs develop ethical skills to last a lifetime. and those leadership skills that we know are very, very necessary to make an impact in your life in the future. You know, I don't have a crystal ball, but when I talk about the future of scouting, I look back 25 years ago when my son asked me the same question. He was a 15-year-old at the time. He was looking to do an Eagle Scout project, and he wanted to be as impactful as possible. He had two other friends, my son Dan, his friend Brendan, and his friend Jason, all three in the same troop, all needed scout projects. They came to me, I was the council president. They said, Mr. Kriebel, where is scouting going in the future? I said, scouting is strong. I think we'll be here at least for another century. But these three boys loved another program just as much, and it was Little League Baseball. Now, every kid in my town of 6,000 joined the Scouts, and they played Little League Baseball. That's what you did in my little town in upstate New York. You didn't have a lot of options. But we had a really lousy Little League. I have to be honest, some of us multitask in small towns. I was also president of the Little League. And I had ulterior motives. I wanted to see some improvements made to our league because the adjacent facilities in the two adjacent towns, they had concession stands, they had press boxes, they had advertising stands. We didn't even have dugouts. Those poor kids would sit on benches in back of chain link fences, baking in the sun. So Brendan, my son's best friend, said, I'm going to build dugouts for my Eagle Scout project. Now, my Rotary Club offered to fund this completely, and they did, and they built the benches. My Rotary Club funded a concession stand and a press box. I have a great friend who was the recipient of the Distinguished Citizen Award from my council, head of a local electric utility. He got three poles and brought a truck in, ran power in and put up poles. We got lights donated by a league that was already upgrading their lights and going to throw their old ones away. We got advertising signs. It was a field of dreams that these scouts built through their Eagle Scout projects. Now I have to turn the clock forward because these boys said, we want to leave the campsite better than we found it. I think we've all heard that term. The campsite in this case was the Little League. They loved it, they had finished playing, but they wanted something better for those that are coming in the future. In 2009, our Little League won the New York State Little League Championship. And have any of you remember Paul Harvey? Okay, this is the rest of the story. In 2016, the Maine Endwell Little League won the Little League World Series. We beat Seoul, South Korea. A community of 6,000 beat a community that drew from 24 million kids. Most all of those kids on that team that had never been born when my son and his friends decided to make that campsite a little better than they had found it. Those kids also are the only team in Little League history over 60 years to also win the Sportsmanship Award. And I was as proud of them for winning the Sportsmanship Award as I was the Little League World Series champion, because they lived the Scout Oath and Law as they competed in that tournament. It was David versus Goliath, and we won the whole thing, and you can Google it. Maine Endwell Little League. A great group of scouts, a phenomenal group of individuals, and these boys now are turning into men. They're now, if you think 2016, 12-year-olds, they're 18, they're going off to college. It really does my heart good. It's the biggest thing that ever happened in our little town, and I thank scouting for being able to do that. Now, you have a campsite that you need to leave better than you found it, and it's your Camp Decorah. And I think everyone here is committed to seeing success at Camp Decorah. I'm so excited to go there tomorrow. There's 100 years of scouting history in this facility, as well as in this council, and I just think you should all be very proud and give yourselves a round of applause for what you've been able to do here in the last 100 years. You can't imagine, just like these Little League players, by laying the groundwork now, you are impacting lives of scouts in the future that have never been born. Who knows what they can accomplish through our wonderful program of scouting, thanks to you. We do need to look to our next century, and to that end, please welcome one of our Centennial campaign co-chairs, Jansen Dahl.
Thank you. Wow. What a distinguished evening, and my name's Jansen Dahl, campaign co-chair. I'm co-chairing this campaign along with Mark Binsfeld. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight, but he sends his regards, and he's very excited for what this campaign can do for the council. You know, our family's been very involved in scouting for generations. You can kind of trace our family business over 100 years, parallel with the gateway, with scouting in this country, and it's really amazing, and we're looking forward to the future as well. So the goal of our campaign, the goal and intent of our campaign is to grow and support scouting. We have a $2.5 million endowment goal, and we are making good progress towards that goal right now. We haven't gone public with it, but we are obviously right now, and then very soon. So I think they'll put the thermometer up here shortly to show what kind of progress we've had. So we have a little bit, you can see we have a gap, and I just want to see if we got any sort of encouragement from the team here. If anybody out there thinks that we can hit this goal by the end of the year, let me hear it from the crowd here. So if we haven't done a capital campaign in 12 years, okay? So I think the last capital campaign was, it was 12 years ago. My father was on that campaign. They raised money to build the Dahl Scouting Center. It provided a dining hall, medical facilities, and really improved camp. Okay, that was 12 years ago. Fast forward, what have we been doing for the last 12 years? Well, the council has really bootstrapped improvements, staffing, training. I mean, we've really scrapped a really good program together. And so we felt it was really time to fill the coffers and build an endowment so that we can leave a legacy for the future of scouting in our area. We look forward to, Mark and I will meet individually with a lot of you guys over the next several months. We want to get out and meet as many folks as you can. We've had, some really good leadership gifts up to this point. We've got a little bit of progress left to make, but there's really no gift too small or too large in that matter. So please, take a look at the booklets that are on your table. Talk to your family. Reflect on how scouting's impacted your life. Think about how much scouting can impact this community. Think about the kind of people that you want to hire. Who are your kids going to hire when they're running businesses, okay? Think about what you can do for this community, and take a look at that campaign booklet. Do we have any of the campaign staff here tonight? If you're here, could you please stand up? Elizabeth, Harry, Mark Metry, Peter Grinkowski, Jack Robinson. You know, when Joe asked me to chair this campaign, I thought this was going to be a lot of work on my part. It was going to take a lot of time, and it has, you know, but Joe Carlson has put in, I mean, the guy's doesn't sleep. He puts in so much work for this community, for this council. So, Joe, you're doing a great job. Appreciate it. Okay, so I hope you all take a look at those booklets. You know, when we give you a call, don't screen our calls. Think about it. Think about some people that you know in your family that may be interested in contributing to this campaign, and you know, let our kids have the experiences. You let your kids and the future generations have the kind of experiences that we had as Scouts. You know, I think Adam and Mike Binsfeld can attest. Everyone should have that experience camping in a cave when it's cold and damp and you can't sleep all night and your kids are having a blast. So thank you very much, everybody, for believing in me, and we'll talk to you soon.
Sam was just electric. He wasn't like anybody else that I knew. He wasn't like my parents. He wasn't like any teacher. He wasn't like our minister. He wasn't like the postman. He wasn't like anybody. He was a very unique individual.
He taught everybody he met that life was to be lived enthusiastically. And his approach to enthusiastically engaging in whatever you do it with enthusiasm, do it with a real spirit of joy.
They loved everybody, and they believed in scouting. They believed when they came here from Three Rivers that this was what God intended for them to do, was to be here. They lived their life that scouting was supposed to be great for everybody, not just the kids, but for the kids and the parents and the leaders. And then that's how we kind of fashioned ourselves behind them, because that's how we believed.
Sam was well thought of in the community. He was a festmaster for going way back to 1975.
On the Oktoberfest parade, everybody was saying, "Hi, Sam." And that's because in our 7-county area, I think he was the most well-known personality, probably second only to Santa Claus.
Between scouting and Oktoberfest, everybody got to know who he was, and Betty, and so that they remembered him. Wherever he went, he was welcome. There are people that influence your life heavily. It is amazing, but Sam just jumps out at you.
They will always be a part of my memory for the rest of my life, and I appreciate everything that they did to help me try to be a better person. Just thinking of Sam Hagerman brings back so many wonderful scouting experiences at Camp Decorah. I'm just so happy that we still have Camp Decorah and can celebrate our 100 years.
So the decision was made as the council moves forward into the next century that we're establishing a new award. This is the Hagerman Legacy in Scouting Award. This will be given on a discretionary basis by the council. So tonight we're recognizing 5 families who have provided significant multi-generational support to the council. The first family to be recognized is the Binsfeld family. They're here tonight with 4 Eagle Scouts from Troop 11. Matt Binsfeld earned the Eagle Scout rank in 1994. Mark, 1997. Mike in 2000. And Adam in 2001. Their father, Tony Binsfeld, earned the Eagle rank from Troop 37 in 1964. And Tony previously served in the Gateway Area Council Executive Board, as did Matt. None of them would have been able to be here tonight without Barb. Okay, never forget. Never forget. Mark currently serves on the executive board, most recently as VP of the marketing and currently as a Centennial campaign co-chair with Jansen. Mark, Mike, and Adam's wife Beth are all active volunteers in Cub Scout Pack 28 with their children. Their business, J.F. Brennan Company, has actively supported the Gateway Area Council, sponsoring different fundraising events and donating in-kind services such as marketing support and construction services at Camp Decorah. Would members of the Binsfeld family please come forward? Could we have another round of applause for this wonderful family? Thank you very much. You're dismissed now. Go back to the podium. I got a boat dock to go to. The next family to be recognized, the Davy family, has had 3 generations serve in council leadership roles. Philip Davy earned the Eagle Scout Award in 1932, followed by his son, Michael Davy, in 1960, and grandson, Mark Davy, in 1985. All 3 continued their scouting involvement into their adult years, providing leadership to a variety of projects through the council executive board. Each of the 3 served as council president. As noted earlier, both Philip and Michael Davy are recipients of the Distinguished Eagle Scout Award, and we know how rare that area is. Scouting involvement has continued into the 4th generation. Mark's sons, Michael and Joseph, earned their Eagle Scout Awards in 2018 and 2019. Their family business, Davy Engineering, has actively supported scouting for many, many years. Would members of the Davy family please come forward? How about one more quick round of applause for that? The next family to be recognized, there they are. The Dahl family. 3 generations of volunteers who have received the Silver Beaver Award. Kenneth V. Dahl Sr. earned the Silver Beaver Award in 1962. He was active on the council executive board and as a district chairperson. His son, Harry, earned the Eagle Scout rank in 1963 and received the Silver Beaver Award in 1996. He held a variety of leadership roles through his 28 years of involvement on the council executive board. Harry attended the National Jamboree in 1963, and it's never been the same since, by the way. And his brother Vinji attended the 1956 National Jamboree. Harry's son Andrew attended the National Jamboree in 1989. There's also a Silver Beaver recipient in the 3rd generation, Jansen Dahl. Jansen earned the Silver Beaver Award in 2014 and has served on the executive board and as council president. He's also serving as co-chair for the Centennial campaign. We just can't let you go, Jansen. He's active in scouting with his son Jackson and wife Kim in Cub Scout Pack 28, where Jansen's brother Tyler and his sons are also active in Pack 28. Dahl Automotive and the Dahl Family Foundation have been proud supporters of scouting as well. Would members of the Dahl family please come forward? Could we have one more round of applause for this wonderful family? Thank you. Our fourth family being recognized for multi-generational service to scouting began their scouting journey in the 1940s when four brothers of the Skemp family earned the rank of Eagle Scout in Troop 11. Thomas, Robert, Joseph, and William all earned the rank of Eagle between 1942 and 1948. Robert Skemp served in a variety of volunteer roles, including as legal counsel for the Gateway Area Council and as council president. From a 1997 publication, Bob's most memorable scouting experiences come from his service as scoutmaster in St. Michael's Orphanage in La Crosse from 1952 to 1954. Recently, he received a letter from one of his scouts at St. Mike's Troop. In the letter, the scout thanked Bob for, quote, making the stay at St. Mike's more pleasant for many boys by his willingness to share himself, by taking the boys on outings and presenting himself as a role model. Robert's three sons earned the rank of Eagle Scout, Tom in 1969, Bob Jr. in 72, and Ted in 1981. Tom has been active in the chartered representative for Troop 11 and Cathedral Church. Bob and Ted are currently active in Troop 11 with their sons and completed a Philmont trek in the summer of 2021 with their sons and other scouts. So you got your boots hanging from the wire? Okay, good, all right. This was 49 years after Bob's trip as a scout and 43 years after Ted's trip as a scout. Bobby and Thomas Skemp are both Life Scouts working towards Eagle. No pressure there. Other children and grandchildren of Robert's siblings who received the Eagle rank in the 1940s have been active in scouting as well, including his nephew Joseph, who is currently active on the council board of directors, recently completing a term as president, and several recent Eagle Scouts from the Steingraber and Euling families. The Skemp family has also been active in the Paul E. Stry Foundation, which has helped to fund several major projects at Camp Decorah. Would representatives of the Skemp family please come forward? How about one more round of applause? Now we have one more family who was unable to attend this evening. Now that's the family of Thomas Slike. Tom's father, John Slike, served as president of the Gateway Area Council and on the Regional Scouting Board of Directors. His sons, John and Tom, both earned the rank of Eagle Scout and also served on the staff at Camp Decorah. Boy, could I tell you stories. Maybe later. Both served as council presidents. Tom here in the Gateway Area Council, and John in the Central Florida Council of Orlando. Could we please, show that, yep. Could we, even though they're not here this evening, can we just give them a round of applause? Thank you very much.
Let's thank Peter for a great job and our 4 families here tonight, one that couldn't be with us, for a lifetime of service to the Gateway Area Council. Thank you. What a legacy. Well, we're getting to the end of our evening. A few more comments, and don't forget we're going to hear from Topper in a little bit. But before that, we have an Eagle Scout who's going to speak to us tonight. And I'm now going to talk about David Fiocco. David is an Eagle Scout from the class of 2002. He earned his Eagle Award from Troop 47. After attending La Crosse Central High School, he went to Duke University, where he studied public policy and cultural anthropology. David was particularly interested in international development. Following his graduation, he was awarded a Fulbright scholarship to research post-war economic development in northern Uganda. He also worked for the Harvard Center for International Development and the World Bank before moving back to the U.S. in 2010. David now lives in Minneapolis, where he's a partner at McKinsey & Company. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome David Fiocco.
Thanks very much. As I was thinking about my remarks for tonight, the first thing I said is 20 years, starting to feel old. And as I thought back about those memories from 20 and 25 years ago, I realized just how many of my memories of my youth were connected to my scouting journey and how those experiences shaped who I am today. There are 3 real pieces that stand out to me. First was how scouting prepared me for adventure. And this is the first time I've been in a large group like this for a long time that remembers those weeks at Camp Decorah. We were talking at dinner about the night our Daniel Boone night was evacuated in the middle of a lightning storm, or lugging our packs up the mountain at Philmont, or learning just how big mosquitoes could be in the Boundary Waters, or freezing to the bone in our winter Quonset huts in northern Wisconsin. Those experiences prepared me to travel the world and to be in communities a very long way from La Crosse, Wisconsin, and to never feel afraid of jumping into a new environment. I thought about my Eagle Scout project and how it prepared me for leadership. I remember corralling computers and finding volunteers from community members to install a nursing home's first internet cafe. And then setting up Yahoo email addresses for a bunch of the residents in the nursing home. Gosh, another thing that made me feel old. But now as I think about those days of convincing people to donate the computers, and now I think about convincing investors to get into a deal, how those early years of scouting prepared me to have conversations and to jump into things and to really be prepared to be a leader in the community. And then finally, and probably most importantly, I thought about how the people of scouting inspired me and taught me about being trustworthy, loyal, and kind. I thought about scout leaders like Bruce Staples and Dean Dickinson, who so many people in the room know. And my fellow scouts, that picture brings back memories, and Eric Kastner is here tonight, and my best friend Peter Rood, who I met through scouting, and still years later, we think about the nights shivering in our Quonset hut and sharing stories with each other, and now we still tell when we're telling each other secrets we don't want our spouses to know, we talk about our Quonset hut talk and the years of friendship that came from scouting. So I'm grateful for all the opportunities that scouting created. I'm grateful for the community that it created. And it gives me great joy to see this room filled with people that are ensuring the next generation of scouts will have that same experience. So thank you all for being here and for what that means.
Topper, you're back on. Whoop.
Hey, baby. I'll finish.
There you go.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your time. I'll stay here. Well, thank you. I gotta stay here.
Welcome again. Back, and a couple thoughts I had sitting there just listening to what's taking place. Again, I had mentioned before, but families in scouting, so important. I mean, you just heard this tonight. It's nothing new to you, but to recognize families, it's so important. It truly is. Another thought came to me about mentorship. Mentorship is so important as well. I think it's needed more than ever. I'll just be honest with you, as I see it. When you can touch young lives, put a hand on someone's shoulder, give them encouragement, support. I think there are young lives out there today that really need that. You get that opportunity, please do. That's part of the Scout vote, Scout law. Being kind, taking time for people. I'm to give you a couple other things, and I want to say also, I recall Mom and Dad, and when Dad heard that he was going to be a fest master, or Oktoberfest was so important to them. I mean, if you talk about it, camp decor, unbelievable, but I'll add the icing on the cake was Dad and Mom got in the Oktoberfest and became part of the Oktoberfest here in La Crosse, Wisconsin. I had buttons. I was in Colorado at the time of the company, not standing up buttons for people that they still have. He would come in. Fortunately, my mom and dad were still alive. We were able to share that. But to all you that's involved with it, continue it. It's such a blessing as well. So I just want to say that it was important to them. I was asked to do, and you won't have to stand very long. I was asked to do a couple of humorous events. And I'll start with my mother. She was the cook, if you recall. She was head of the kitchen. And I was talking to a couple gentlemen that she ran. She should have had sergeant stripes. Should have been tattooed on her arm. But she always liked to play tricks. Always up for just doing some things. And I remember one of her favorite things was this. The scoutmaster was having a birthday at camp. Mom, oh, well, we'll have a cake for you. Oh, man. Listen, usually it was in that dinner. And what she'd do, and again, correct me, whoever was in the kitchen, this happened. When I was there, I recall, I was talking to her. She'd get a nice platter, right? Really cool. She would get a pie tin, flip it over on the platter. Get about this much frosting on the platter. Put all the candles on the platter. Happy birthday was sung. Someone would come out, big deal, deliver it. The scoutmaster, man, that's nice, Betty. He'd take his fork and his knife. You can imagine, come on. See, before all of a sudden he's cutting into this plant. And he wanted to be cool because Mom took the time, the heart of Mom, prepare this for this guy. And finally, the roost was up, and obviously it discovered Mom had played a trick, and that's what she loved to do. And it happened more than once. I remember it happened more than once. And when I was on staff. Second part with my dad. And those that have been out to camp, especially then, he would get up, I remember, gosh, he'd get up in godly hours anyway, and work. And summer was the time for him to go from about 5:30 in the morning to 11, 12 at night. But he'd come in that next morning, and I'm sorry. Hello, everybody! Beautiful camp decor, or something to that. I'm plagiarizing a bit here, paraphrasing, I should say. And then he'd say, just think of this. And he'd look out, and I was in the staff more than once. I'm sitting there at a table with scouts. I was on the waterfront at the time. And I mean, it's raining cats and dogs. Raining. And you could hear it just pouring. And he'd look, and he'd say, isn't it beautiful here, Camp Decor? It's raining, but that's liquid sunshine. And every time I thought of Dad, liquid sunshine, that's his attitude. Attitude was so positive. I don't care if it's rain, snow, sleet, whatever. And we're really fortunate that we all had that opportunity with Dad and Sam. So thank you again very much. I appreciate it.
We've come to our final Eagle Scout presentation of the night. Please welcome one of our newest Eagle Scouts, Carissa Adams. She earned her award in 2022, that's this year, as a member of Troop 515, chartered by the French Island Lions Club. She's completing her freshman year at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse, current Lodge Chief for Nisanaktani. I have to get these pronunciations. Her Eagle Scout project benefited Perot State Park, which is a very special place to her family. Carissa.
Hello, I'm Carissa Adams, and as was mentioned, I'm an recent Eagle Scout and member of Troop 515 off of French Island. I am also the current Lodge Chief of the Nisanaktani, that's how you say it, of our lodge, as well as the Senior Patrol Leader of our Council's National Youth Leadership Training Course. When I entered scouting, it was pretty natural to me because my mom was a Gold Award Girl Scout and my dad is an Eagle Scout. And my journey within the BSA began when I wasn't even able to be a scout yet, but when my little brother was a Cub Scout. I went to all the meetings, all their campouts, and I built winning Pinewood Derby cars with their pack. Nearly 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to become an official member of the Boy Scouts of America through venturing. One of the life-changing experiences that I got to have within my first year was attending National Youth Leadership Training. If you knew me before that course, you would know that I'm no longer that scared little 14-year-old who didn't really know what she was doing or if she even wanted to be there. But by the end of the week, NYLT really lit a passionate fire inside me for leadership, both in and out of scouting. In February 2019, myself and many other young women were finally able to enter the Scouts BSA program. Through the next years, scouting continued to play a large role in my life. I earned many merit badges, went to summer camp, and enjoyed all the things that I now could do. One of these experiences was working on summer camp staff at our lovely Camp Decorah. My weeks working at Camp Decorah have been some of the most fun that I've ever had. I get to do what I love every single day and work with the people who enjoy the same things that I do, and they keep letting me come back. So 2 years ago, I was elected and then called to join the Order of the Arrow. In that August, I was inducted and later sealed my membership into the order. Since then, I was elected our lodge chief, and through the Order of the Arrow, I've been to many, many events that have really helped me to further my leadership and my interactions with other people including councils of chiefs, lodge conferences, and section conclaves. In 2019, I earned my Girl Scout Gold Award, and then this winter I completed a successful board review and became an Eagle Scout. Now some people have coined me as the Golden Eagle. After a nearly 8-month process of coordinating the building of an informational kiosk at Perot State Park, I had reached the peak of scouting and joined the Eagle ranks. I'm also very lucky that I was able to experience this process alongside my brother AJ, also a new Eagle Scout. To add to this, scouting has been in my family before my parents, as my grandpa was a scout, and my dad is also an Eagle Scout. I knew that they and the rest of my family supported me every step of my way. One of the things that scouting has done for me is it's helped me decide my future career. So the amount of time that I spent working at summer camp and at scouting events really made me go, hey, I want to be an elementary teacher. So I'm currently working on my major in elementary middle education at the University of Wisconsin-La Crosse. Scouting has and will continue to help me through the rest of my life, just now and in the future in a hopeful teaching career.
Well done, Carissa. We're proud and glad to have you in our rank of Eagles, and I know that I can speak on behalf of the many other Eagle Scouts in the room here tonight to say that we're very proud to welcome you to our flock, and very proud to welcome future female Eagle Scouts to our organization as well. Real quickly, I'd like to say a few words of thank you to Topper. Topper, your energy, your commitment, the word that I think I want to use is your spirit, is absolutely incredible. And I think that it's something that many of us will walk away from this evening tonight, and we'll absolutely remember that positivity that you brought into the room, and so many of us can understand why your father was so impactful on our community and generations of young men. Topper, would you please come forward? Topper is a token of our appreciation, and I'm joined on stage by Dean Dickinson from our Centennial campaign team. We're proud to recognize you with the print Eagle's Wings, which is a print of the Camp Decorah Fire Bowl, and we hope that that allows you to forever remember your visit to La Crosse today and give you another reason to forever remember your childhood and your wonderful parents. Topper, thank you.
Thanks, man. You know, there's many times this Black River, if you've been out to Camp Decorah on a Thursday night, when we had the campfire, families would come out, the Indian dancing, and I don't know where that is, so on and so forth. But we bring down canoes from the top and come down here. If you know the Black River, it flows very quickly past here. And I remember, fortunately, I was waterfront help teach canoeing and rowing. And a lot of times we'd get some new Port of the Arrow dancers. We'd always put them in the front or bow of the boat because we knew we had to paddle our tails off to make sure we made it into the bay, because otherwise we'd be down here in the Mississippi. I'm not kidding, off the Black River, but this is really, I can't thank you enough. I don't deserve this, man. Thank you. I love you, man.
Want to thank everybody else that was part of our program this evening as well, our 3 generations of Eagles, and I don't know if anybody picked up on the math with that. We had Mark Metry in 1972, David Fiocco in 2002, and Carissa Adams here in 2022. as we gather here in 2022 as well. So that was not intentional, but one of those things that came about as things do. I want to thank everybody else that had a role in the program, our other visiting guests. Mark Lee, congratulations on the Distinguished Eagle Award. Your words were also inspirational to the group. And a thank you to Mark Kriebel for coming to us to share his special story and to help keep the evening moving along as well, which I promise I will not delay that. I also want to thank our Centennial campaign team, the Gateway staff that helped support this event, and the other volunteers that helped support the different details on things as well. Thank you to all that are here tonight, whether you traveled near or far. Regardless of when you were last involved in scouting, you should know that you're a member of our scouting family. Your effort to be here shows that. Thank you to those that have made the Centennial campaign lead gifts to generate this important enthusiasm in the community as we seek to truly leave our council a better place than we found it and provide for the resources for the next several generations of youth. We have an opportunity to do some incredible things in our council by achieving this. Tonight, you heard a variety of times about how scouting prepared young people for life. I want to touch on two other individuals before we conclude. A special thank you to Tim Wyant, a longtime camping committee volunteer and a member of our Camp Decorah Ranger Corps that clued me into this. A young man, Chester K. Britt, born in 1915, grew up on the north side. He was a scout in Troop 1 at the Northside Presbyterian Church. A 1929 La Crosse Tribune article mentions that he was appointed head bugler at Camp Decorah and known throughout the community for his bugling skills. He earned his Eagle Scout in 1934, so he would have been one of that first generation of young people in our community that experienced the values of the scouting program, went on to graduate from West Point in 1940. His West Point biography states that he was, quote, active in scouting, loved to bring his friends home to do scout work, sometimes studying to earn merit badges or constructing bows and arrows. He served in the Philippines in World War II as a second lieutenant. Here in the Silver Star, he was stationed on Bataan. When it fell, he then was a POW of the Japanese for 3.5 years. He eventually returned to the U.S. in La Crosse, had a family, but died young at age 38, which was attributed to the severe conditions that he lived under for that 3.5-year time period. We cannot know how scouting prepared Lieutenant Britt for this episode, but we do know that it played an important role in his life. We can know, though, that it recently prepared a young lady in our council, Nora, from Onalaska Troop 19, who in early 2022 leaned on skills that she had directly learned in the scouting program through the Medicine Merit Badge to save her grandmother's life, recognizing a medical episode and responding to it appropriately and quickly and responsibly to provide needed care. As we enter our next 100 years as a council, we look forward to continuing to prepare young people for life.